Jude Law's 2020 film The Nest has mixed reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, which all comes down to its somewhat misleading genre. The movie, which is directed by Sean Durkin and also stars Carrie Coon, puts a unique twist on horror movie tropes and is approached like a thriller. However, it may not deliver in the way audiences would expect, which seems to have significantly impacted The Nest's reception. Still, despite the divisive reviews and poor initial performance at the box office, the film has managed to make its way up to Netflix's top 10. The Nest tells the story of Rory O'Hara, Law, an ambitious entrepreneur who convinces his American wife, Allison, Coon, to move to an English manor with the promise of life-changing financial prospects. The more that Rory promises his family, the less he follows through. As business deals continue to fall apart, Rory becomes more deluded about his status, pretending in front of colleagues and friends that he has money to burn. The strain this puts on his marriage grows steadily as their home itself seems to turn on the family. Finally, Rory and Allison reach their breaking point. Netflix advertised Jude Law's The Nest as a psychological thriller, but it didn't deliver. Jude Law as Rory O'Hara, Carrie Coon as Allison O'Hara, from The Nest movie. The Nest was initially released in theaters in 2020, but its release on Netflix in 2024 is when it was finally thrust into the limelight. By that point, Law and Coon's film already had an impressive 90% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, earning it the Certified Fresh badge of honor. However, as regular Joes began watching The Nest on Netflix, it seems that they weren't impressed. Despite the high critic score, the film only managed a 43% audience score, with many poor ratings attributed to the same factor. Several of the poor reviews left by audiences on Rotten Tomatoes expressed outrage that The Nest was listed as a psychological thriller on Netflix. Though there are a few creepy elements throughout the film, it doesn't deliver in the same way as other movies within the genre. Based on Netflix's categorization, these reviewers were expecting to get at least a couple of goosebumps, but they were left unsatisfied. The film is no longer listed as a psychological thriller on Netflix, but The Nest's unique approach to thrill is still likely to leave audiences split. The Nest puts a twist on the haunted house trope. The Nest is now listed as a social issues drama on Netflix, which fits a little better than psychological thriller. Still, this initial categorization wasn't for nothing. There were several spooky happenings at the O'Hara's ancient mansion throughout the film, especially for Coon's Allison. The deeper that Rory fell into his delusions and deceptions, the more the house seemed to turn, with sounds coming from nowhere, doors coming unlocked and opening on their own, and the general torment and ill feelings of the home's occupants. However, rather than the house in The Nest being full of ghosts, it was the malicious spirit of greed and wealth that was haunting the O'Hara family. This is why the goings-on within the mansion were never explained, or even addressed, before the ending of The Nest. Rory's endless uphill climb toward wealth was putting immense pressure on his home and family, which caused Allison to feel as tormented as if she really was in a haunted house. In the end, the film simply used horror tropes to construct a social commentary, and this caused some frustration, which might have been the point. The Nest is a Netflix hit despite its divisive reviews. Allison and Rory looking in a mirror in The Nest. Based on the mixed reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, it can certainly be concluded that The Nest isn't for everyone. The film's abrupt ending left many questions unanswered, and the themes exploring the horrifying impact of the never-ending journey for wealth will hold different weight for each viewer. Still, the divisiveness of The Nest is likely what contributed to it becoming one of the top movies for Netflix in January 2024. One of the major benefits of streaming on Netflix is that there's no risk of wasting money on a bad movie, and the mixed reviews typically result in some curious viewers. The Nest is undoubtedly a unique movie. It's an understated slow burn with an ambiguous ending that allows audiences to use their imaginations and experiences to determine what comes next. In all, it's an interesting watch for those who would enjoy a melancholic exploration of trauma and wealth. Unfortunately, Netflix didn't set The Nest up well by advertising it as a psychological thriller since it can only barely be categorized as such. However, if the streaming service hadn't done so, perhaps the movie wouldn't have reached the top.